When I explored the holistic retirement plan, I discussed five aspects, and I shall probably come up with more over the next following weeks and months. But I'd like to start today with health. I think it's one that's on the top of all of our minds with the pandemic. But I'm going to take it down to simply how can we look after ourselves as we grow older so that we do not get frail early on and so that we do not incur huge medical costs, which I know is in the back of many of our minds. I often in my blogs and in my coaching refer to the Blue Zones project. I don't know if you've heard of them, and I just find them so creative and so interesting, and I do subscribe to their newsletter. If you haven't heard of them, what it was a group of scientists wanted to know why some people live to 100 and more and others don't. They looked at a map of the world and populations, and they found, I think it was 5 pockets of people that had much higher density of centenarians than anywhere else. And then they went and interviewed each one of these populations to pool the knowledge as to why these people were living so long and healthy. I won't go into the detail of where they are, though that's interesting in itself, because I invite you to visit the website bluezones.com. Get that detail. But I want to extract there things that we can incorporate into our everyday lives. One of the things, all of those communities led a very active life. They did not, like many of us, have gym contracts and rush off 2 or 3 times a week to the gym, pump iron for an hour, get exhausted and feel we've done our exercise and activity for the week, and then spend the rest of the day sitting in front of a computer. If that is your work, it is extremely difficult, but it's important to remember to get up very regularly, at least once an hour, and walk around for 5 minutes. But they all gardened they grew their own vegetables. They walked to their vegetable gardens, they did all the digging and weeding and work in the gardens on their own. Most of them lived in double-story houses, so they were going up and down stairs. So what I'm saying here is incorporating activity into your daily living. I was writing on my blog post this week that having moved to a small village in the country, it is now more effort for me to get the dogs out of the way, the garage door open, then the gate opened and the vehicle outside, and then closing the garage door, closing the gate, than it is to walk 3 or 4 blocks to where I want to be. So day after day, I need something here, or I want to talk to someone there. I just open the gate and I walk out. It's wonderful to have that regular walking exercise incorporated into my day quite naturally. Another thing they speak about is not overeating. Now, I grew up in the area where we were told not to leave anything on our plates because it was wasteful, because the children in Biafra had nothing. And I still find it very difficult not to leave something on my plate when I'm eating. But the Blue Zones project found that people left 20% of what they had on their plates. So they never left the table feeling full or satiated. Having spent 8 years in boarding school, I like to eat until I feel full. And I gobble my food down so I don't always feel full at the table. Or problematic eating. They also found these people, they didn't cut out the alcohol, but they had the odd glass of wine here and there, particularly the people from Sicily, I think it was, and the Greek population. They ate an 80% plant-based diet, not a lot of meat. Where I live in South Africa, we're a very meat-focused society. But vegetables, I don't think vegetarianism is that healthy unless you have the right proteins. But less meat. We don't need to eat meat every day. We do not need to eat meat at every meal. They also I've drawn a blank now. What was it going to say? So they don't eat processed foods. And I know there's a big movement at the moment to move away from processed foods because of all the hidden ingredients. These people live off the vegetables that they grow. They eat simple cooking that's not laced with foreign substances and foreign ingredients. It's not a natural, everyday thing. So I want to leave that with you because I think just simply incorporating those into our lives, we will lead a much healthier life. And I just want to add another one that's not on the Blue Zones one, but I'm finding it an essential ingredient in my life is sleep. How many of us reach our 60s and a bad night's sleep has become the norm? I know that television and blue light from our mobile phones, cell phones, our laptops, etc. at night plays havoc with our circadian rhythms. But a good night's sleep is actually essential for health. I struggle with it, and every time I do have a good night, I revel in the fact that I've had a good night. But it is something that's worth exploring to make sure you get a good solid 6 to 8 hours sleep a night. The myth that we need less as we grow older is a myth. There is absolutely no scientific basis for that. We still need a good night's sleep for clarity in our thinking. It is the time in the day when our bodies get to clean all the toxins out, ready to eliminate in the morning when we get out of bed. So there are many things that we can consider. We can go into details on diet, but I would like to leave that for perhaps if you join my membership site, which I'm looking into start, or if you come to one of my coaching workshops where we might discuss health in a lot more detail. But there is a lot that we can do that costs nothing, that's at our fingertips, that's staring us in the face to make sure we don't age sooner than we want to or we need to, and to keep ourselves healthy and fit and mobile and agile for as long as we can. Till next time, where I'll just probably discuss another aspect of health. Thank you.